वेदो घनिरतं मम वसुगुच्चमश्चमापहजीवनतरिशोरस्य मानो हिंसीज्जातवेदो गामश्वं पुरुषं जगतु अभिव्रतग्न आगहित्रिया मा परिपातया उद्दीप्तजातवेदोपघ्निरतं मम वसुगुच्चमश्चमापहजीवनतरिशोरस्य मानो हिंसीज्जातवेदो गामश्वं पुरुषं जगतु अभिव्रतग्न आगहित्रिया मा परिपातया.
Sir, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor G.S.R. Krishnamurthy, sir, to come on to the dais. Professor S.D. Sudarshan, Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director of CDAC, to occupy his chairs, and Professor Rajnikant Shukla, Sri K.V. Narayan Rao Garu, Registrar, and Professor Ganapati Bhatt, sir, and Professor R.J. Ramasri to come and occupy seat on the dais. We cordially invite the Vedic Pandit Venkatesh Chaudhary Garu and Niranjan Mishra to render the Vedic prayer.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanapradaana Sunbannodabhitte Rasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinevati Dhinama Vitriyavatu Ano Devaprahata Parvatada Saraswati Ratagantu Yajnam Havan Devi Durushana Gudati Jagman No Vachamridishanotu Anando Brahmete Vyajanadu Anandadhyeva Khalmimani Bhutani Jayante Anandena Jatani Divanti Anandam Prajancha Vijambishantiti Ishabha Gavivarani Vidya Parame Vyuman Pratishita Ya Evam Veda Pratitichati Annabanannado Bhavati Mahan Bhavati Pratya Brahmavattasena Mahan Kitya Hari Om.
Sir, to fit into the context, I just experimented with available AI tool and tried to generate some Anustup slokas to render this Swagata to our people, and just I wanted to test with the August gathering and with the permission of the chair and PC sir, I started. These are generated with the help of AI tools and some scholarly help, and Swagata and some AI related prayer. Kulapalan Krishnamurtin Petakirti Vivardhakan Mukyatidim Kamakotim Atityarham Sudarshanam Visishtatithi Rajanikanta Narayanau Tada Savadyakshan Ganapatin Karyadaksham Ramasriyam Abhivadya Sabhasinan Swagatam Samababravi. So this actually sloka was tried by me through AI, and one thing I want to mention here, when I tried to produce this sloka, in fact it gave 3-4 meanings. So when I mentioned Mukyatadin Kamakotim Atityarham Sudarshanam, it says that these two names are complementary to each other. So Kamakoti is that one who gives us more boons, and whereas Sudarshana is one who has more ability. So these two personalities available here complement their abilities each other. That's what the AI gave us. And second thing, when I included Savadyakshan Ganapatin Karyadaksham Ramasriyam, it said that I am rendering prayer to the Lord Ganapati and as well Lakshmi for the successful completion of the workshop. So these two were not in my mind, but when I tried to render Anustup and tried to analyze through AI tools, these meanings were generated. Now, because our Ganapati Bhatt sir is a Vedanti and Ubhaya Mivamsaka, I tried to generate one more sloka. Sarva Buddhihi Kritrimaiva Vedantokti Pramanataha. ततोपि चान्या कल्पिता राजते स्वप्नस्वप्नवत् कालांतरे सैव कर्त्री इति भाति विचारणे. यन्त्राध्ययनमिति च अनुसङ्गणनेति च कृत्रिमा बुद्धिवद् बहुफलं जनयतो यतः ततः तद्विषये तद्वत् भारतज्ञानसन्ततेः अनुप्रयोगसम्बन्धे मीमांसा निपुणैः सह क्रियते तत्र भवतां कामये सावधानताम्. So this I tried the AI, and AI also gave exact translation, that also I hold. And dream in the dream. It is Vedanta's mic here, sir. Mic करके वो try किया. Sir, now it is. Sir. Sir, we would like to invite Professor V. Kamkoti, Director, sir, to join our event online, while other esteemed guests are participating in person. Your valuable insight and contribution would greatly appreciated, sir. Kamakoti, sir, we welcome you to be online.
Thank you very much. Can you permit me
Sir.
share my slide? In the Google Meet, whoever is created the Meet, can you allow me to share my screen?
Sir, 1 minute, sir. One welcome address is there. After that, we can request you to start. We will allow you.
No, you just allow
Only
me
2 minutes. Our Ganapati, but sir would.
Yeah, that's okay. Just ask your admin to enable sharing. That's all. I'll wait.
Sir, please bear with, sir. We are doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I request our Professor Ganapati, but sir, to deliver the welcome address.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. आचार्यः कामकोटीशः गोडाश्री वंशजो गुरुः तयोः संस्मरणादेव जन्ममे सफलं ध्रुवम्. अस्माकम् अद्य अत्यन्तं सुदिनम् अस्ति यत् कल्याणपुर्यां विद्यमान CDAC संस्थया सह तिरुपतिस्थ राष्ट्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयेन यद् अवगाहनं कृतमासीत् पूर्वं, तस्य तेन अवगाहनेन काचन विशिष्टा कार्यशाला आयोजनीया इति अस्माभिः चिन्तितं. तदद्य कार्यरूपे आगतं वर्तते. कृत्रिममेधायाः विषये, कृत्रिमबुद्धेः, यन्त्राध्ययनस्य, अणुसङ्गणनायाः तथा भारतस्य पारम्परिकज्ञानपरम्परायाश्च अनुप्रयोगः इत्यस्मिन् विषये दिनद्वयात्मिका कार्यशाला अस्माभिः आयोजिता वर्तते. अत्र भारतीयज्ञानपरम्परायाम् अनेके उत्कृष्टाः अंशाः उपलभ्यन्ते. कृत्रिमां बुद्धिं स्वीकृत्य तस्य समन्वयः यथा भवेत्, एतैः यथा उक्तं वेदान्तरीत्या सर्वापि कृत्रिमा बुद्धिरेव भवति इति अध्यासः. परन्तु व्यावहारिकप्रपञ्चे कृत्रिमतायाः आवश्यकता अस्ति इति अधुना लोकः अत्यन्तं मनुते. तद्विषये वेदस्थम् एकं धातुप्रयोगं कर्तुम् इच्छामि. एकः मन्त्रः ऋग्वेदस्थः वर्तते. विश्वजिते धनजिते सत्राजिते इत्यारभ्य हर्यतम् इति परिसमाप्तिं येति सः मन्त्रः. केन धातुना निष्पन्नः इति विचार्यमाणे हर्यति इति रूपम् आगच्छति लट्लकारे. कुत्र प्रयोगः अयं प्रयोगः कुत्र भवति? साधकः नास्ति सः। इदानीं वैज्ञानिकाः यादृश दिशं गच्छन्ति तत्रैव अयं प्रयोगः कर्तुं शक्यते। वेदे तावत् अस्ति। अश्वमेधप्रकरणे यः अश्वः प्रेषितः तस्य वेगः प्राप्तिस्थानं न केवलं प्राप्तिस्थानम् उद्देश्यम् एतत्त्रयं मिलित्वा अश्वः प्रेष्यते। अश्वस्य गतिर्वर्तते, प्राप्तव्यं स्थानं यद्वर्तते तत् प्राप्यैव सः अश्वः तत्र तिष्ठति। यः प्रेषकः वर्तते तस्य उद्देश्यमस्ति सर्वोऽपि लोकः तेन जेतव्यः, तत् प्रथमम् उद्देश्यं भवति। एवञ्च उद्देश्यः उद्देश्यं यत् अश्वस्य उद्देश्यं यत् तद्वयं मिलित्वा हर्यति इति प्रयोगः कृतः। तत्र अश्वः गच्छति इति प्रयोगः। प्राप्तव्यं स्थानं यत् तत् प्राप्तव्यं स्थानं येन मार्गेण गम्यते चेत् तत् सः मार्गोऽपि सुफलः, प्राप्तव्यं स्थानमपि साफल्यं भवेत्। येन प्रेष्यते तस्यापि लाभः भवति। यत्र इव हर्यति प्रयोगः दृश्यते वेदे। इदानीन्तनाः वैज्ञानिकास्तादृशाः वर्तन्ते। सीडाक् संस्थापि तादृशी वर्तते। संस्थायाः उद्देश्यम् एकमस्ति। कृत्रिमबुद्धिं स्वीकृत्य वा यन्त्रस्य साहाय्यं स्वीकृत्य वा जनानां समीपे यथा गच्छेत् अथवा मार्गः यथा उद्देश्यकर्ता तत्रत्यः अध्यक्षो वा भवेत् अथवा संस्था वा भवेत्, वैज्ञानिकाः भवेयुः। मार्गस्तु वर्तते यान्त्रिकः मार्गः कृत्रिमां बुद्धिं स्वीकृत्य। प्राप्तव्यं यत् जनेषु प्राप्तव्यं चेदेव कार्यं सुकरं भवति इति मनसि निधाय अयं प्रयोगः मया हर्यति, वैज्ञानिकानां हर्यन्ति इति प्रयोगः क्रियमाणः वर्तते। एवञ्च एते वैज्ञानिकाः ये समागताः वर्तन्ते ते हर्यन्तः सन्ति। यदि हर्यतम् इति प्रयोगः कृतः वर्तते, अधुनातनाः वैज्ञानिकाः अपि तादृशबुद्ध्या अत्र समागताः वर्तन्ते इति अयं महान् सन्तोषः अस्माभिः अनुभूयमानः वर्तते। तत्र यत् भारतीयज्ञानपरम्परायां मया अद्यैव पारायणसमये कश्चन मन्त्रः दृष्टः। उषसः वर्णस्तरे देवी इति नाम्ना व्यवह्रियते वेदे। सा देवी सूर्यस्य उदयात् पूर्वं 30 योजनतः अग्रिमपर्यन्तं बहु वेगेन प्रकाशं दास्यति इति वेदे दृष्टं वर्तते। एवञ्च सूर्योदयात् पूर्वम् अतिवेगेन प्रकाशः आगत्य सः प्रकाशः रात्रौ विद्यमानम् अंधकारम् अथवा अंधकारम् अज्ञानं यथा नाशयति तथा इयम् उष संबंधी देवी या वर्तते सा अज्ञानस्य नाशिका भवति इति दृष्टा वर्तते। प्रार्थना तु समीचीना वर्तते, परन्तु प्रकाशस्य वेगः कियत् पर्यन्तम् अथवा कियत् वेगः वर्तते प्रकाशस्य सूर्योदयात् पूर्वं, पश्चात् यस्मिन् समये सूर्योदयः भवति तस्मिन् समये मध्याह्नसमयः कः भवति, कुत्र भवति, रात्रौ अस्तमानसमयः कः वर्तते, कुत्र वर्तते इति निर्देशोऽपि तस्मिन्नेव मन्त्रे लिखितं वर्तते। अयं मन्त्रः ज्योतिषकैः वैज्ञानिकैः दैवज्ञैः स्वीकृतः वर्तते, श्लोकरूपेण प्रत्यावर्तितः। एवञ्च लङ्कायाम् उदयः भवति चेत् यमपुरी इति कश्चन प्रदेशः वर्तते, तत्र मध्याह्नप्रदेशः भवति। एवञ्च कुट्टप्रदेशः इति यः प्रदेशः वर्तते तत्र सायङ्कालसमयः भवति इति तैः पूर्वमेव निश्चितं वर्तते। एतादृश ज्ञानपरम्परा अस्माकं वेदेषु सर्वत्र बहुत्र उपलभ्यते इति मनसि कृत्वा अस्माभिः प्रार्थिताः वर्तन्ते कामकोटिशा एते च IIT मद्रास् मध्ये निदेशकरूपेण कार्यं कुर्वन्ति। एतेषां पितृचरणाः वेदान्तिनः नैयायिकाश्च आसन्। तैः न्याये वेदान्ते च बहु प्रयत्नः कृतः वर्तते। तस्य फलं ज्ञानपरम्परा पुत्रस्य समीपे तैः दत्ता वर्तते। इदानीमपि ते तद्विषये एव कार्यरताः वर्तन्ते। अस्माकं काञ्ची कामकोटिपीठस्य अत्यन्तं प्रियतमाः शिष्याः भवन्ति वीलिनाः तत्पुत्रः कामकोटिशास्त्रिणश्च। अतः तेभ्यः अस्माकम् आह्वानं स्वीकृतम् आगताः इति कृत्वा हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। एवमेव CDAC संस्थायाः सुदर्शनाः वर्तन्ते। मया उक्तं पूर्वम् अज्ञानस्य नाशार्थं सुदर्शनचक्रम् अपेक्षितं वर्तते। सदा तेषां हस्ते सुदर्शनचक्रं वर्तते। ते अज्ञानस्य नाशकाः भवन्ति। नूतन प्रक्रियाम् अपि ते आरभन्ते। तस्मात् तेपि अस्माकं प्रार्थनां स्वीकृत्य समागताः सन्ति। तेभ्यः अस्माकं विश्वविद्यालये पक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य सर्वस्यापि मूलभूताः भवन्ति अस्माकं कुलपतयः GSR कृष्णमूर्ति महाभागाः। तेभ्यः अपि अस्माकं पक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। एवम् अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य निदेशिका वर्तते रमा महाभागा। सापि कंप्यूटर् विषये बहुज्ञा वर्तते। श्रीदापि वर्तते। तस्याः कृते अपि हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। एवम् अस्माकं कुलसचिवाः ये नारायणराव महाभागाः सन्ति तेषां कृते स्वागतं व्याहरामि। संकाय प्रमुखाः सन्ति शुक्लमहाभागाः तेषां कृते स्वागतं। ये CDAC संस्थातः समूहरूपेण समागताः सन्ति तत्तद्व्यक्तित्वेन तेषां सर्वेषामपि स्वागतं व्याहरामि। ये अस्माकम् अध्यापकाः प्राध्यापकाः शिक्षकाः सर्वे अस्माकम् आह्वानं स्वीकृत्य समागताः सन्ति तेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः अपि स्वागतं व्याहृत्य विरमामि।
धन्यवादः महोदय. Now I may request our beloved Professor R.J. Ramasri of the meeting to give some introductory remarks.
Respected Vice Chancellor, dignitaries on the dais and off the to you all. Actually, very recently we underwent a with CDAC with to sir, please do come, sir, on the dais. When it is this MOU sets a framework to work in collaboration with who are well versed with the Indian language techniques, and also they are very good at developing high performance computing systems, and are very good at the good at technological end, and we have Shastric background. So in collaboration we have to develop some systems which are helpful to the society as well as the Sanskrit community. With that intention, we underwent an MOU. As a part of this, one workshop is to be conducted, and actually this workshop first thought to be closed between CDAC and NSU, but afterwards we thought that since research we have to involve the research students of National Sanskrit University. So first we opened only for option research scholars, and afterwards we received a tremendous pressure from the faculty and even outside expert teachers also for the participation. And actually our honorable Vice Chancellor is very keen at implementation of AI in the administration as academic field. He conducted a meeting 1 month back and asked set us some guidelines to work on that. So there will be 2 other workshops explicitly for the students and staff separately, and even the talks today are all not restricted to the pure AI theoretical fields, but they are interdisciplinary topics between computer science, AI, and Sanskrit subjects. And I would like to tell one thing. Actually, there are three. The life of any human being on earth will be influenced by three factors. One is knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing exact absolute truths about something under the consideration, and intelligence is the capacity to perceive, understand, to be mindful on those truths, and wisdom is the application of our knowledge. So while using AI is a emerging just now emerging, but it is emerging and it is trying to influence the lives of human beings in a very fastest way, as we have seen with our as cell phone changed the lives of all people. Now we are seeing in the same way it is going to change human beings, but we have to use it with a caution and human ethics, and there are many constraints to be forced on it to get most benefit out of that. So I am sure that this workshop will ensure will open up many research areas for both AI research people, scientists, and as well as our students. And I request all our students to get benefited by this, and please be thorough. You have, in order to be pace with the modern society, you have to follow the latest trends, which will improve your career to a larger extent. And I thank the vice chancellor and registrar for allowing us to conduct this workshop, and CDAC people especially. All the people are and they are very patient to deal with us as not able to provide good accommodation facilities. They really didn't mind anything, and they have come all the way. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you all. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, madam, for your thought-provoking introduction to the workshop. Now it is the most awaited event, that the speech of our keynote speaker. We have distinct privilege of Professor V. Kamakuti, the director of globally renowned IIT Madras, Chennai, to deliver the keynote address on the theme of workshop. Professor Kamakuti is a distinguished figure known for significant request Professor V. Kamakuti, Director, to deliver his keynote address for us. Thank you, sir. Sir, you are in mute, sir. Sir, you are in mute, sir. Kamakuti, sir, you are in mute.
Please allow me to share the screen. Your host control is not working. Please allow me to share my screen. Please go to host control and enable sharing of screen.
Sir, it's enabled, sir. It's enabled.
I'm not seeing it here. Shall I rejoin? I'll rejoin again. Just give me a minute time.
Please, client, kindly.
Hello. Again, the sharing of screen is not enabled. Please.
Sir, Kamakot sir, this is in sharing mode only, sir. We are seeing it is shared.
No, it is not. I'm not getting that enable button here.
Sir,
There is
sir,
a
can you
host
share the
control.
presentation to us on WhatsApp so that we can share here?
Yeah, I'll do that. To whom I'll send it to Ganapati, but
Please kindly do that, sir. Kindly.
so I've sent it to Ganapati, but so in your host control, allow everybody to share. It is only you may have only allowed the host to share.
Sir, sir, kindly try it, sir. They are enabled, sir. It's showing here as in. Please, you
Yeah,
can try again once.
I'll try again. No, it's not allowing. I've sent this. I've sent the slide to Ganapati.
Sir, we are sharing it, sir. We are arranging it for share. వచ్చిందా? Sir, now we have shown your presentation.
Is it? Can you share? You share it.
We are sharing it, sir. We are sharing it.
You share it on Google Meet.
ఇక్కడ కూడా issue ఉంది.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Okay, we'll start. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting. Okay. Yeah. Can you reduce the volume of the? Or you can mute your side. You can please mute. You can mute your. So thank you very much for inviting me. I must tell you, I don't know the ABC of Sanskrit grammar. So what I'll be talking about is the artificial intelligence and what some few things where I feel that Sanskrit grammar will be of utmost importance in the context of AI, artificial intelligence. It is a very much growing field, and everyone across the world today are talking about artificial intelligence and the way they can use it for the benefit of mankind. So I have two sort of presentation. One is Sanskrit for AI and AI for Sanskrit. In my opinion, there is not much that Sanskrit needs from it. It can contribute a lot more to AI rather than it being helped by AI. Because of one great soul, the pride of India, Panini, who has actually brought in an entire language development into a set of very well coherent set of rules, and that essentially makes Sanskrit as one of the very interesting language, free from ambiguity, very clear in the way the words, the sentences, the meaning, the syntax and semantics is being conveyed, as a very, very powerful language for computer science and specifically for AI. So Sanskrit for AI is something that we can dwell upon in a large way, while AI for Sanskrit, I think, has a very minuscule usage, probably in generation of words, etc. So let me just go through in the next 15-20 minutes whatever I feel that the Sanskrit University, along with CDAC, and if you wish, we can also include IIT Madras, we can all do together and do something in this area. So for the benefit of all who are attending here, for the benefit of non-computer scientists or non-AI specialists, I just put this slide where I would like to briefly touch upon where AI can really help and where AI is leading to what is the framework of AI. So this is an introduction to where AI and languages come together. So we'll see from the left-hand side. Today's state of the art, there are people talking about natural language processing. Long back, last 3-4 decades, people are talking about expert systems, which can basically, try and do certain works. For example, there was expert system which played chess. Chess is a very rule-based game. For every coin, we know what are all the possible moves, and for every move, we know what are all the possible moves from the other side. So if I can, for all the moves I can make, for all the possible moves for each of the move I make, and for all those 2 moves, the possible moves I can again make, and for all the 3 moves, all the possible moves the other person can make. If we are going to analyze this, say 5-6 levels, and then we find out what is the other person's best, I can defeat the other person. This is where these expert systems, specifically that played chess, say 30 years before, helped. Then there are these deep neural networks, which are very close to today. If we say that how close are we to the human brain, deep neural network is a very interesting, computational model, which is basically helping us to mimic how human brain thinks, right? And then we have this generative AI. Generative AI is something like we learn something. We don't learn everything, but we learn something, and based on that, we use inference, we use our own logical reasoning, and we generate things and how we handle. So everything that we do is not something that is taught to us, but we generate our wisdom based on our existing knowledge, and that's what we call as generative AI. And many of you might be using ChatGPT. I heard the initial speaker even composing slokas using some of these language models. So this is a large language models. Today, large language models are like the ChatGPT and the DeepSeek, etc. And one of the big things that as a country we are trying to do, nature, Sanskrit, all of us know, there are 64 art forms. In Tamil, we call 64 Kale. One cannot be expert of all these 64, right? That's what nature has taught us. So we can be in 1, 2, 3. If you are expert in 2, then you are genius. If you are expert in 3, you get a Nobel Prize, right? So now this large language models like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, they are something like, all Vedantins can appreciate Sarva Vyapaka Chaitanyam. They know everything. They are Trikala Jnani. They know everything in this yet. And that is essentially creating the problem. They are consuming a lot of power, a lot of memory, and they are becoming non-sustainable. So the next thing that we as our country, many efforts are happening here. There's an effort called Bharat GPT, which is like ChatGPT, but it's a Bharat version, Indian version, which is led by IIT Bombay, and many of our institutions are part of it. Like that, we have made multiple efforts, and we call it as small language models or domain-specific language models. We can also call it as specific language models. And then there are this robotics and robotic process automation. Many times you go to some of these very high-tech banks, you have this chat bot, which is actually a robot. right? So you ask some question, it starts answering those questions and automating this entire process. So these are all some of the very interesting topics, and I would like to touch upon how Sanskrit can help AI do these things much better, and that is our overall stuff. So our areas of focus will span this entire phenomenon, and let me now explain that flow chart that you see on the top of the slide. On the leftmost side, you have this automation and mimicking of intelligent behavior, right? So you really want a system to become intelligent. That means it needs to understand a lot of things. There is a human system interface. The human would like the system to do something, and the system must behave and give back that result in an intelligent. It should have the intelligence to behave and give back the right answer. So this automation and mimicking of intelligent behavior, which is what is all about AI, artificial intelligence today, is basically by performing tasks with minimal or no human intervention by using computers. So I ask the system to do something without me intervening with it. It should solve and give me the answer. It can be a speech. It can be some translation. It can be some work that we want to do using a robot. But all these things, there must be a basic understanding of what I want it to do, and for which it will return. It will react. Now, this is no. Please go to the previous slide. Please go to the previous slide. So this is basically happening through three aspects. One is learning, which in Sanskrit we call adhyanam. Another is perception, which we call as pratiksha, and reasoning, which is tarka. Right. So we have this learning, perception, and reasoning that needs to happen, and because of that, this basic intelligent behavior is happening. Now comes a very interesting problem. So somebody talks to you in your mother tongue. For example, somebody talks to me in Tamil, and I get that wisdom. I understand what they are saying, and that knowledge gets embedded in my brain. Next time I'm trying to react to some scenario using some of those concepts that I learned here, but that reaction is in English, right? So if I learn something in Tamil, it is not that I had to respond or use that intelligence only in Tamil. I store it in some form, and then I react in any other language that are suited for that purpose. I may react when somebody says like this is a joke. So this is somebody has said, so this is the actual import of what he is trying to say. There can be two meanings to what they say, so there is another meaning. That I have learnt in Tamil, right? So, and somebody is saying that action, I start laughing because I understand the second meaning of it. So, whatever I have learnt here need not be actually returned back as a speech, it can also be returned back as an action. Now, what does this teach? This happens to you day in and day out. So, you might have learned the entire language in your mother tongue, or your entire medium of instruction would be in, say, other Indian languages, but we are able to understand English and relate to what we have learned there. So there is no correlation from the language by which you acquire the wisdom and the language by which you use the wisdom or tell out. So there is some intermediate representation, and that representation, if it is unambiguous, it does not have any ambiguity, and it is completely rule-based, then that would be the best system, because when you understand it, the latent impression of what you have understood, the latent storage of the knowledge that you have understood from someone, if it is stored in an unambiguous, very clear form, then the response that you give will also have the same clarity. And when you are understanding, and if it is not representable in that clear form, you will further ask questions to make that representation clear, so that you really store it in that form and start responding. So this is where this intermediate representation is where we say that Sanskrit can play an important role, and that is where we pay all our obeisance to the great Panini for giving us a language that could start from scratch. It can start from your Pratipadikam and Dhatu, and from there you build your sentences, and you have a very clear understanding of what everything means. Now we come back after learning, perception, and reasoning. What are we using it? to solve some problems which are extremely computationally intensive. And these problems can be used for predicting something, for deciding something, for translating something, for many things that you can use today. And for all this, we need languages and large data sets. Languages are, for example, I have Sanskrit, English, Tamil, we have so many documents. And these Sanskrit, English, and Tamil are languages. Those documents are data sets. So I have languages and I have data sets which are in those languages. And all these things form what we call as a data lake or a warehouse or data mart, or all these names are there. So what we do, we extract all these data sets, we translate them into something that is precise, and then load it there. And whenever there is a need, we retrieve it, we analyze it, and make either we learn, we perceive, and make this reasoning and solve some of these problems. So friends, so in this world we have these language models, and there are a lot of languages, and there are a lot of documents and text, speech, for photos, everything that are based on those languages. Our attempt should be now, if there is a project between CDAC, Tirupati, NS, and the National University, I heard that you have an MOU. One of your attempts must be that you take all these languages, translate them into Sanskrit, into having a very basic framework there, put it into Sanskrit, and then you basically store the entire thing, translate and store the entire thing in a Sanskrit inspired form, right? Sanskrit in sense, a Sanskrit inspired form, and use that inspired form to basically solve some problems. So if somebody asks something, you have learned something in Telugu, you get it and store it in this Sanskrit inspired form, which is an intermediate representation. Somebody asks something in English, you take this part and translate it and give it in English. That will be a clarity. So this is how Sanskrit can play a very, very important role as an intermediate, unambiguous, clear storage language for the big, large language models that we are talking of. Next slide, please. So when we start looking at even the word Vyakarana as a V-A-Karana, there is a V actually starts about classification or separation, and A is towards, and Karna is performing. So even the word Vyakarana, it starts, right? Charity starts at home. Even the word Vyakarana essentially says that this is a process. What is Vyakarana? This is a process of separating distinct aspects of a language, right? So this is a process of classifying distinct aspects of a language. So it actually comes from the basic word. So in this way, classical Sanskrit, one of Goddess Saraswati's greatest gift to mankind, I must say, every word is Vyakta. Vyakta in the sense it is an absolute and a distinct entity. And so it is completely expressed, it is completely exhibited, and there is no second thought or second meaning to that, right? And so we have this entire Amarakosha actually deals about how to map meanings, and for every word there is an etymological derivation from which you arrive at the meaning of that word. It's not just I started calling something like that and it becomes so this is what, and this you see in every language, every Indian language. In Tamil we have the same, in Telugu we have Kannada, Malayalam, Odia, Hindi. So everywhere we see Indian languages are having words that are Vyakta in the sense that in my limited understanding of Sanskrit, it means that it represents an absolute and a distinct distinct being or a distinct entity of the language, and that makes our Indian languages much more robust. So there is a lot of effort to basically make language models that are tuned for Indian languages. Why? The reason is, this is the reason that every word that we utter, I call something as a, for example, gata, pata, like we call it, but there is an etymological derivation of why that name came. from the basic pratipadikam or your dhatus. So depending on a noun or a verb, etc. So that is making the whole concept of Indian languages quite interesting, and that is why we feel that we will have a very, very important role to play in the upcoming AI era. So now this is very clear. So you have these prefixes and verbs, your upasargas and karanas, and then you have the prakritis and pratyayas leading to padas and vakyas. So we have the entire root of a word, and then it basically undergoes some changes in terms of. So I'll just give you a small automation at the end, which I saw recently in an article, and then it leads to phrases and then finally to sentences. So this entire process of formation from scratch, from the dhatus, from the pratipadikas, from the root verbs and root nouns, from that, how do we build the sentences and how do we build the phrases and sentences? This entire process of Vyakarna is what we call as grammatization, and that process one has to computationally capture, and once we have captured that, I think it will be a great internal representation. Next slide, please. So we start with this time-tested understanding, like your walk, that is the language, initially starts off with certain implicit, understanding, right? So initially, you have some words. Suppose I'm learning a language. Initially, the language is completely unknown. So we say Greek and Latin in India, right? So we don't understand what it is. Suppose we are reading a Chinese document, we don't even understand the alphabets, right? Many of us. If you don't know the alphabets, we don't even understand. But then, from there, how does the language develop? There are 4 constituents: the para, pashyanti, madhyama, and vaikari. So the first 3 are actually, this is the 4 stages of speech. So the first 3 are internal, and while the last one is actually the constitutes the grammar. So now when we look at the grammar, so now we have an evolved language. We are not going to talk about the first 3 constants, but we now want to capture the 4th part. Now we see a lot of things. There are multiple schools. It's not just Paninian, there's an Indra school. And then, but one of the important thing is Paniniya Vyakarna is extremely rule-based. And we have 2 types of, in computer science, we have 2 ways by which we can express the language. One is a context-free language. Context-free language where, every word can exist by itself, and interpretation of the meaning of that word in a sentence is independent of the sentence, right? So this is what we call as context-free. And many of the time when we are understanding the grammar of a language, so many times it is context-free. The syntax of the rules of the language, many times it is context-free. But then context-sensitive grammars are those where every word, there is a dependency of the meaning of that word on the entire sentence, right? So this is a very raw way of understanding it. And there are a lot of computational, computer science-oriented theory that are built upon this context-free and context-sensitive grammars. Now, Paniniya Vyakarna is rule-based, and we have both context-free and context-sensitive type of the classical Vyakarna, and has lot of rules. But when there is a conflict, Panini comes out with a clear way of resolving this conflict, and he has a logical reasoning for that, right? And that's what we understand, right? One simple reasoning is very clear that the latest rule, so if you have 2 rules that are applicable in a particular context, the latest rule that is appearing in the text will be applicable, which will be more powerful than the rule before. And this is what one of the way of resolving conflict. And there are a lot of arguments which says why Panini has come out with this, and that is completely based on reasoning. This reasoning is something that is very important from a computer science point of view. The rules are one, of course, they are important for us to understand Sanskrit and take it forward. But the reasoning, why this rule is precedent over another rule. So why that particular understanding is what will make the entire AI process understanding that part of Sanskrit, which basically talks about evolution of a language and why those rules, the entire language is rule based now, but then there are exceptions to the rules and why these precedents happen. So these are some things that are of great importance. So there is recently also came across a thesis, I think in Cambridge, which actually talks about the algorithm, the methodology that Panini has actually followed to basically resolve the conflicts of these rules. So why what is important from an AI perspective, which all grammarians, great grammarians I know, uh, many of them are my father's friends at the National Sanskrit University. What we need from you is a clear understanding of how Panini, what was the argument, what was the basis on which Panini came out with this resolution of these rules. And if we could come out with a very nice description of that, very pointed description of that, that will be extremely helpful for AI scientists to develop these language models. Next slide, please. Then there are many dhatupadas. These are category of root words that are enumerated by different schools. The basic premise here is that research has proven that the methodologies of Indian knowledge system, which Dr. Ganapati Bhatt also very well explained, are very well done. In Sanskrit we say samyak kritam, right? So it is done very nicely, and that is why, again I repeat, for the reasons that I have said, every word is vector, everything has a very systematic way by which the language has evolved, systematic way by which a word has evolved, not just by the syntax, but also the semantics, the phonetics, everything is being covered. And that makes this IKS as a very well done research methodology. Specifically in the language domain, the IKS has various dhatupadas, the Paninian and non-Paninian, and also many Vyakarana schools. So there are at least 5 Paninian dhatupadas and 4 more non-Paninian dhatupadas. I'm sure you can go through the literature to find many of them. I just listed some of them here. Next slide, please. And then there are also many other texts that are of interest. For example, the Katantraha of Sarvavarman is also where he is explained Ashtadhyayi in a much more concise way. And this Pratishakyas, specifically from a Vedic point of view, so Vedas had been there for quite some time. We say it's Anadi, and then how it has kept the same rendition, how it has kept over years, decades, centuries, yugas, how it has happened. And so there are some Pratishakyas which talk about the grammar of this Vedic text, etc. So that can make this entire study much more comprehensive. And very interestingly, many people, especially Germans, have worked very extensively on Sanskrit. Today, every German school, there is a provision. I have not visited Germany, but there is a provision that they can take Sanskrit as a language, and they believe that Sanskrit can be one of the prime Telugu, Kannada, all the South Indian languages, North Indian languages. We have grammar there, and digital formats might exist, but they have not significantly undergone this, transformation and loading. So that's also extraction, transformation, and loading. So that is also one very important project. I think CDAC is also involved. I think Director CDAC will talk about it. We have this major manuscript thing, which was also in the recent budget. Our Honorable Finance Minister has announced this. Lot of this digitizing this, because once you digitize, we have a lot of things to be extracted and transformed and loaded into our language model. Right? Next slide, please. So I have 2 more slides, but I'll just finish in next 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so this is the overall system that we are talking of. What you see on the rightmost top, that is the intermediate representation. This is where we feel that Sanskrit can guide us on how we can represent the knowledge that we are gathering from different sources. So we have a lot of NLP expert systems we see. So what you see, let us come back from the previous year. We have, uh, ML expert systems you see in yellow color for deep lexical analysis and parsing that actually turns on to some knowledge representation in terms of abstraction artifacts. This knowledge representation can be inspired by Sanskrit. What you see on brown and red arrow coming there, and this can be a basis for large scale models and NLP based expert systems. So how do we basically get into it? You see the green on the bottom. We have a lot of corpus text. We have to digitize that text where manuscript missions of the government of India, where I really request CDAC and the National Sanskrit University, and you also have our sister institution IIT Tirupati. We have Professor Kalidas. I don't know whether he's attending today here, but you can invite him. He's working on manuscripts. I think all of you can put together and get this digitization. Once you get this digitization, we have to build a dynamic database for this, and then starts the entire game of what you are seeing here. So Sanskrit will play a very, very interesting role in that brown box, which is knowledge representation. It is Paninian grammar and understanding the process of Paninian grammar, which is going to express us. Now, last one. This is something which is very, last slide, next slide, please. This is something that I recently got from one of the articles. I have also given the link down. You can share these slides with anyone. So we also, what is happening is science, let us say science, engineering technology is evolving. And suppose I want to translate my course. I'm teaching some course on, say, hardware design. I want to translate it into English. I shall translate it into Sanskrit, because those documents will also be stored as an intermediate representation, right? Now, how will I generate an equivalent word? I have some word here. I want an equivalent word, and that word must convey something, right? It must convey as, it should be vector, right? It must convey the correct meaning of that. So how do we do this? And this is where Paninian grammar actually plays. So you have this dhatu and pratipadikam, the verb root and the noun root. We have 2000s of them. Then you have all your pratyayas. You have the sanadi pratyayas, which basically are very much suffixes that will basically build new types of words. And then there are the ting pratyayas, which basically adds the purusha, the vachana, and etc. for this, and then it gives you a usable verb. Similarly, you have also the krit pratyayas, which also contributes to this, which has the action part along with the gender, the numbers, etc. Then you have the pratipadikam. Again, there you have the supratyayas, and then you have the tadhita pratyayas, which are creating new words from basic things like dhanavan, dhana plus dhanavan. So like that. And then we have the stri pratyayas, which is modifying the gender. And then we have the supratyayas, which adds the gender, the vibhakti, etc. And then you basically get the usable noun. So now, as you see, I can keep doing this exercise, and I can keep churning out infinite number of words from the basic dhatus. And depending on what I want, suppose I'm having a word in English, and I say what that word means to a interface in Sanskrit. From that, it can select, depending upon I want a usable verb or I want a usable noun. It can select the corresponding verb root or a noun root, and then it can keep adding the pratyayas, and then it can generate a new word, which essentially means what we want it to mean, right? So that is the most important thing, and that can be used for storage. And whenever somebody is asking something back, we can retrieve that, and then we can give a good translation back. I think that is going to be a very important contribution of Sanskrit, the Paninian studies, from an AI perspective, right? So, and when we go and our languages evolve, other languages evolve, more technology, science, everything comes into our new languages, generating new words will, with sense, right? Just not some haphazard word, but with sense. Again, Vyakta completely inventing it to be a very good, distinct entity with the purpose for which that word is created. I think this is where the Ashtadhyayi is going to play a very important role. So, friends, so whatever I have understood about AI, in which I know little more than what I minuscule things that I know about grammar, thanks to all the interactions which I have with my father and people like Ganapati Bhatt who have been frequent visitors to us. Some Sanskrit words are coming in my mouth. Thanks to all of them. This is what I would like to present and pose as a problem to you. So I look forward as an outcome of this workshop a much more strong relationship with CDAC and NSU and also IIT Tirupati. All three of you can go together if you need any. Of course, IIT Madras will be very happy to participate. We also have some good Sanskrit people there. We would like to take it forward and let us see that Indian knowledge system becomes one of the big contributors to the global technology. And that is how we can realize that dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, Vikshit Bharat 2047. All these will matter in a very big way. And the Sanskrit University will have a very important role. I congratulate both Dr. Bhatt and the Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, for arranging this wonderful workshop. And thank you immensely for inviting me for this. So thank you very much.
Sir, thanks, sir, Kamakoti, sir. And we request organizers to display a felicitation, verbal felicitation, because we are unable to honor you, sir, directly. So
I would love to have this. So
extends
my request to Ganapati Bhatt ji is that if you can give this to somebody in Kanchimat, I'll collect. They are leaving today. So thank you very much.
Sir, I wanted to mention Dr. Kalidas is also here, and he also is also hearing you. And when you
So you can give the felicitation to Kalidas. It's my very close.
Sir, sir, we are thankful for you, sir, for your insightful inaugural speech, and further your insights into the infinite word concept of Sanskrit. And any questions, madam? No. Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you for the insightful thoughts, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sir, VC, sir. To invite another keynote speaker, sir. Sir, we also have the honor of presenting Dr. S.D. Sudarshan Garu, Executive Director of the prestigious CDAC Bengaluru. He is a key architect of advancement of computing and technological solutions in India, leading CDAC's impactful work in the areas such as high-performance computing and strategic electronics. Sir, we request you come on to the dais and take the speech.
Namo Namaha. So Namo Namaha. The pleasure cannot be larger than what we heard so far. I think the workshop, the Karyashala has already got the summary, the extract has already come through. Three presentations, one by the MC, who said AI and Sanskrit are already connected. So it's not new. It's a question of how to make it faster and quicker. That's the first part. Second, some of the hidden are not popularly practiced on day-to-day basis by not linking with the day-to-day life with our practices that we keep it in the puja room. That is what our Professor Kanavati Bhatt highlighted, saying that what we recite, we are not applying in daily life. If you just do it, the synergy will be there, and then we will be able to reach the pinnacle that Bharat is meant to be. And Professor Kamakoti, one of our leading lights for CDAC on many aspects, from chip design to high performance computing to language computing everywhere. But he not only presented his view, but he summarized a lot of things. For example, one of our good friends, Professor Sai Sarla, the last slide that he has showed, that is really amazing. Because in computer science, when we talk about recursion, which is calling yourself again and again, is considered the most complex. And to make something comprehensible for a common person, to make it understandable, we call it nesting depth. How many times you can call yourself? So beyond 8, it is considered to be extremely difficult for humans to understand. And most of the good software programmers or projects or reviews will reject. Interestingly, what we just saw, the infinite or unlimited output is possible only when the nesting depth is also infinite. And we also see this when somebody talks about Saptaham, which is very popular in our tradition and culture. It is all about Kathekulla Katha, story within the story. It is extremely difficult to come back and correlate where we started and which story relates to which part. But that gives us the eternity that we can keep moving without worrying about where it started, where it ended. It keeps us very engaged, very nicely. The HPC, which is CDAC does, the high performance computing, allows us to achieve that infinite loop nesting, which otherwise is not that easy with a traditional desktop and all. So from CDAC, we believe we may be able to support our system, display its prowess to humanity for its progress. And that is where the entire CDAC team is here. But success depends on Trinity. So we have 3 things in computer to talk about. We need a platform, we need a set of tools, and then we need the domain knowledge. So as CDAC, we can do the platform, but the domain knowledge and the tools need to come from our National Sanskrit University. And if we don't join together, the tools, technologies can come from IITs. Already IIT Tirupati, Professor Kalidas, Professor Prapurna, and IIT Chennai, the MTS where Sai Sarla sir works. All of them are very much involved to bring the technology together. So these 3 can make the entire system come to life. And in that aspect, since we're talking about 3, this is incidentally the 3rd kind of workshop that we are doing at NSU. So we have our Honorable Vice Chancellor who has been leading this. Thank you, sir, because you have hosted every time and taken the lead. And every time we have met VC Garu, he has always given what is the next activity and with a date. And once we say it is no Vai Muhurtam, once it comes through, it happens. And it is coming from none other than Krishnamurti, right? So it has to, Krishna has to, things have to happen, it happens. And the able support that we get from our Ganapati Bhatt sir, he is not just the dean, but the collaboration between the two institutes is not in just a discussion. Two of the research scholars, Ms. Sinchana and Ms. Archana, they are working with CDAC and they are at Bengaluru. So there is a collaboration happening which is taking this forward, enabled by Ramasri Madam when she was the registrar. Now we have the new registrar, and he comes with the strategic sectors. So he can strategically align us to take the country, to make us prepared for any kind of defense mechanism that is any kind of adversarial attack. So the registrar has come with the nice background. I think it's a very great choice, sir. Good to see you. First time, sir, we're meeting you. Thank you. He also has a Bangalore connection, by the way. He was there for some time. And here, the NSU, today we have actual linkage with 7 to 8 faculty in various departments. And out of all the things, this workshop we have chosen 3 themes: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and quantum, along with our system. The AIML was already covered, and for quantum we have one Dr. Asfija who will be talking about it. Since AI is already covered, maybe I'll take 2 minutes on the quantum part. See, quantum is something, why it is very important. What we do effortlessly as a human being, like we look at an object, we say, yes, this is a clock, this is a board, this is a TV. I don't think we have spent even a millisecond and a microwatt of power to come to the decision. Yes, this is so and so. But same thing, a large language model, which is the typical AI does, takes, we all hear about ChatGPT consuming so many megawatts of power with this many billion parameters. We are able to do with almost zero effort. And I am told, so if you want sustainable, effortless, comfortable without feeling tired, the computing should also adopt quantum computing. And how does the quantum computing happens? When our Bhattmode recited that sloka, that sunlight, the effect we get it before the sun actually comes. When we read physics, they have something called a concept of diffraction. So which says light travels in straight lines, but on certain surfaces it can bend. So you can see it before it appears. I may not be telling the exact theoretical physics, but conceptually that is what it is. So the concept of diffraction, which de Broglie and so many other people are trying to explain, and they try to say that light is not a particle, but it is a wave and so on, or a duality theorem and so on. If you just read these slokas, it clearly indicates we have understood that though sun rays are straight, but it can also reach ahead of time on a curved curvature. It's already there. Just that we have not applied our mind enough to make it usable in today's era. It is really the right time that we all talk to each other, and together we solve this unexplored areas. And another small example, though out of this one but related to compute, is many of us know there are so many sutras we read on mathematics, Ganitam. For example, Vedic mathematicians, they are able to multiply any number of digits just like that. There is a formula. Similarly, they are able to find square root, cubic root, nth, just using a simple formula. So when we are discussing in one of the meetings, it turned out some of the slokas we have are specific instances of a generic formula. So today, the formula only talks about cubic root for a specific number, 8 digits of multiplication. So anything that is specific has to come from something generic. Somewhere we have to just to find out what is the generic formula. The moment we do it, entire mathematics is one sloka, one sutram. So we don't have to teach the entire algebra in so many years. So somewhere it is also similar to regular computing to quantum computing. How do we work together between the entire team that is working on IKS? Bring that quantum equivalent, bring the generalized formulas that will solve our problem. So we are here to learn from all of you. And on stage, we have all the Mahabhagas, and off stage, nobody is less. So it's almost like, when we go to Mahabharata, it's all Ratis and Maharatis everywhere, Atirati, Maharatis. So there is no one is less. In the end, they can only be managed by Krishna, nobody else. So we are at the right place with the right person leading the. And in the interest of time, I will not take all the names, but I'm here looking forward to learn more. As Professor Kamaguti mentioned, in fact, last week we had a good opportunity to spend 30 to 45 minutes waiting at the airport. He had to go back to Chennai, I had to go back to Bangalore. We are sitting together. We have already noted down few specific projects that could be jointly done. She has already mentioned Professor Kalidas here and all. But the idea is, at the end of the workshop, we'll concretize into an actionable plan, and that actionable plan will be implemented. The speed will get it when it is formally a paid or funded project. But funds or no funds, it is our willpower that will take. I think we all have enough beyond what we do for our whatever 8 hours, 10 hours your job is, to be able to contribute to this, because this is something that is coming from inside. Anything that is intrinsic, we say Atmanepadi, that grows by itself. We don't need anybody else. So only thing what we are trying to do is, by making it Ubhayapati, it is not only beneficial for self, but also for all. So that is what the whole exercise of this get-together is. And I'm very happy to be here and ready to learn as much as I could. And the student in me, fortunately, is still alive. And we have so many teachers here. Once again, I would like to thank two people who have worked tirelessly from NSU side, Ganapati Bhatt and Ramasri Madam, for the guidance and blessing of the VC Garu. And from CDAC side, Dr. Janaki, Dr. Sarita, they have been working tirelessly, along with, of course, team of Dr. Vatsala, Narao, Aspija and all. And because we have the two scholars posted here, has always been kind of, always continuous and complete. So it has been very nice. And going beyond what is here on architecture and green. So maybe that is a topic for another workshop. So maybe that time one of the person sitting that side will be here, because that will become the focus. But I have one appeal to our VC sir. So next workshop will be at Bangalore. And we request the same support, same enthusiasm. We'll have it at Bangalore, and we'll try to organize it in a very appropriate manner, befitting your expectations. So with that, thank you all, and I'm looking forward to learning more. Thank you.
So thank you, Sudarshan sir, for sharing your expertise and highlighting the crucial role of fostering technology and innovation to the National Sanskrit University. Sir, now may I request it's my pleasure to request Kadiyam Venkat Narayan Rao sir, dedicated registrar of the National Sanskrit University, to speak few words.
Respected Vice Chancellor, sir, Chief Guest of the Day, Professor V. Kamkoti, sir, our Executive Director from CDAC, Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, sir, Professor Rajnikant Shukla, sir, Professor Ganpati Bhatt, sir, Ramashri, madam, Professor Ramashri, madam, and our esteemed friends who are present here. Neither am a technocrat nor a linguist from Sanskrit, but nevertheless, I've been given a small responsibility of speaking. I was told yesterday evening by Professor Ramashri madam, since you'll be on the stage, you guys have to speak something. Then I was wondering, sitting here, what to speak. My friend Professor Shukla was telling, body is present, mind is absent. Then I was thinking, yeah, मैं क्या बोलूं? I was only wondering, like, the entire human evolution, it seems, started with a potter's wheel. Why exactly a potter's wheel? With the wheel, then the wheel of bullock cart was invented, then the wheel of chariot was invented, then with that chariot, it seems, the wall clock was also devised. It's also wrong. And why I'm touching this wall clock is what the time is. In this artificial intelligence is necessary, is a necessity of the day for the reason that it saves our time. When in the 17th century, the Industrial Revolution, the mechanization of the world has started, leading to large-scale production with the machines with less manpower. But nevertheless, over a period of time, the manpower got engaged in large-scale production and production of goods and services. That is how, from 17th century to 21st century, we have progressed materially. Now, in 1985, I must say, when Rajiv Gandhi was there, about exactly 40 years back, I was called for All India Radio, Yuvani program, to speak on boon or bane on computerization. I was speaking, and my friend was speaking that computerization is bane. He was reasoning that with the introduction of so much of computerization, India, which is a labor-intensive market, will be losing idling so much of manpower with the introduction of computers. But nevertheless, had we not introduced computers, we in India must be lagging behind in this, what is that, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and advancement of science and technology. Today, about a decade back, again, the debate goes whether to use artificial intelligence. The West, it seems, is very worried about India for two reasons. Produce nearly 1 million computer science engineers in India. That is not even the combined strength of Europe and USA don't even produce 50% of the students what we produced in India. What they're feeling is over the world by storm. Yes, they have introduced chat GPT, and immediately we have seen the shares of Nvidia have gone up to $300 billion worth. Suddenly, we have seen the introduction of DeepSeek. The shares of value of Nvidia fell by $100 billion. Now, we see in the DeepSeek, there's a question. They say it is faster, it is quicker, and it is cheaper than ChatGPT. But the fact of the matter is, a question was asked, DeepSeek, can you tell about the Tiananmen Square student massacre? Immediately, the answer the DeepSeek has given is, sorry, the data cannot be processed. So what I mean to say is, whatever the algorithms, the data is fed by the humans is only the ChatGPT or the DeepSeek gives answers. So here in India, we have, as I told, 1 million computer scientists who are ready to develop the Bharat GPT, or for that matter, advanced ChatGPT or much better DeepSeek version. So here, why ChatGPT in Sanskrit is the question. The question is, we have a feeling that our Indian knowledge systems or our ancient knowledges, the rishis, the scientists, the earliest, they have created a lot of wealth of treasure, knowledge treasure. Now, to unearth this knowledge of our rishis, we need to understand. To understand, we need to know the language Sanskrit. You know, it seems Arjuna was not a Brahmastra or for that whatever astra, it was not. It was a nuclear weapon. He was having the nuclear weapon technology to use in a war. That was his science, that was his knowledge. So if he happens to use a Brahmastra, it would cause destruction of the universe. So is a nuclear weapon, if it is used here in this world, it will cause destruction. Now, to know the science employed by our rishis are warriors like we need to understand what is the science. To understand the science, we need a language. That language is Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is just not easy. To make it faster, we need introduction of artificial intelligence in Sanskrit to make our processes fast. So now, question is, again, today's world, we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the third is the ethics. Elon Musk is already considering his voice, saying that the humans will be taken over by the humanoids, or that matter, artificial intelligence. You all must have seen one beautiful movie called Matrix Reloaded. The movie, if you happen to read it carefully, it has a lot of martial arts. The people started seeing the movie for martial art, but not exactly it's the same. The movie sends a message. Machines producing machines. By using artificial intelligence, the machines started producing more machines. Okay, what's wrong if the machines produce more machines? These machines, when they got generated, they needed power. And that is what matrix theory, the machine started using the power available on earth for their own survival. A threat to humanity. So my point is, we must be introducing artificial intelligence, machine learning, or whatever it is. But ultimately, the person who is generating the machine, the algorithms are written by people like Professor Kalidas. And these professors who, that, as I told, let it be Professor Kalidas, or 1 million computer science engineers what we have in India. These professors can take care of these algorithms so that our human beings are protected and we progress. We need, our vice chancellor is keen on introduction of artificial intelligence in Sanskrit for the reason that we start computing or we start learning in a faster and much better way. My message to all of you, especially the research scholars and the teaching or the non-teaching faculty, to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to make our processor quick, smarter, and more accurate. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thanks, sir, Registrar sir, for thought-provoking and inspiring speech on AI. Now it is time for the presidential. Now I respectfully invite the guiding force of this esteemed institution, champion of the academic pursuit and innovation, Professor GSR Krishnamurthy Garu, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the National Sanskrit University, to deliver the presidential address.
सत्यस्य तत्त्वं निहितं गुहायां सत्वं भूषन् अपावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये अयं मन्त्रः ईशावास्योपनिषदि एकोनविंशः मन्त्रः तत्र डिस्कवर् करोतु तदानीं भवतां कृते किमपि सत्यतत्त्वं सत्यनिष्ठा धर्मनिष्ठा च भवति इति तस्य मन्त्रस्य अर्थः। तत्र अस्मिन्नेव विषये अहं तु यदा कुलपतिपदं प्राप्तवान् तेनैव सह एका समस्या। का सा समस्या? अस्माकं NEP 2020 अत्र इम्प्लिमेण्ट् करणीयं। वस्तुतः अत्र अयं च प्रायः पारम्परिका संस्था भवति इयं। तस्मिन् समये आधुनिकानां प्राचीनानां च समन्वयः कथं कर्तुं शक्यते इति काचन समस्या आसीत्। केचन उक्तवन्तः यदि अयं च विश्वविद्यालयः पारम्परिकविज्ञानस्य भवति, आधुनिकस्य नास्ति, एवम् अत्र स्थापयामः चेत् एन्क्रोच् भवेत्, प्रायः यदि लक्ष्यमस्ति तत्र कदाचित् तिरोहितं भवेत् इति केषाञ्चन वादः। तावत्पर्यन्तं गतं यत्र मन्त्रालयपर्यन्तं गतम् अयं विश्वविद्यालयः कस्य कृते निर्मितः इति, आधुनिकस्य कृते वा प्राचीनस्य विषये वा उभयोः कृते वा इति। ते मां पृष्टवन्तः। अत्र समन्वयः कार्यः, अतः तदर्थमेव अयं विश्वविद्यालयः स्थापितो भवति। अतः आधुनिकविषये अस्माकं कम्प्यूटर् सैन्स्, गणितं, एवमेव योगः, हिस्टरी इति विषयाः सन्ति। संस्कृतं पठ, आधुनिको भव। अयं च अस्माकं भवति, परम्परासंरक्षणं गौणं भवति। इदं च संस्कृतं पठ, आधुनिको भव। आधुनिकज्ञानम् अवश्यम् अपेक्षितं संस्कृतज्ञानेन सह। अत एव अस्माकं विश्वविद्यालयः स्थापितः इति मया उत्तरं दत्तं। तर्हि एवं भवति चेत् यदस्ति IKS अत्र इम्प्लिमेण्ट् कथं भवेत् इति। तदर्थमेव प्रयासं कुर्मः। अस्माकम् आधुनिकविभागस्य एकं स्कूल् भवेदिति अत्र निर्णयः कृतः। आर्डिनेन्सस् अपि तत्र प्रेषितं वर्तते। अनन्तरं च गत वर्षे एवमेव जातम्। अस्माकम् अत्र कान्वकेशन् यदासीत् तस्मिन् समये अस्माकम् आयुष्मती एका कम्प्यूटर् विभागे या छात्रा अध्यापिका अस्ति नागलक्ष्मी इति मेरी सुजाता, एवमेव अस्माकं गणित अध्यापकः अस्ति अयं चन्दूलाल्, अनन्तरं च शिक्षाशास्त्रविभागे एकः अस्ति स च किमपि मां प्रति सूचनां दत्तवन्तः। वयं च तदुच्यते किं भवति कृतं तत्तु प्रायः तत् करणीयं। तेन च पेटेण्ट् अस्माभिः प्राप्तवन्तः इति। मया पेटेण्ट् इत्युक्ते तथा ज्ञानं नासीत्। यतः अस्माकं व्यापार मध्ये पेटेण्ट् एकं कालं भवति, तत्र NA इत्येव लिख्यते। NA नाम नाट् अप्लिकेबल् इत्यपि न जाने, NA लेखनीयम्। तदानीम् एवं रूपेण भवति चेत् एते पेटेण्ट् प्राप्तवन्तः। महान् सन्तोषः। अस्माकं विश्वविद्यालये अग्रे गतं यदा NEP 2020 IKS कदा नारब्धमेव तथापि प्राप्तवन्तः इति एकम् अचीव्मेण्ट् इति कृत्वा चान्सलर् कृते पत्रं लिखितम्। अस्माकम् अध्यापकाः सर्वेपि अप् टु डेट् सर्वमपि बहु कुर्वन्ति इति मया पत्रं लिखितं। केषु विषयेषु तैः पृष्टं। कम्प्यूटर् विषये इति कथितं। कम्प्यूटर् विषये कस्मिन् विषये? आर्टिफिशियल् इण्टेलिजेन्स्। आर्टिफिशियल् इण्टेलिजेन्स् भवति चेत् एते किं कृतवन्तः? अधुना तेषां विषये किञ्चित् ज्ञानम् अपेक्षितं। ममापि ज्ञानं नास्ति। कदाचित् शुश्रूषां करोमि तेषाम्। अहं चिन्तयामि अग्रिममासे कदाचित् एतेषां सकाशात् किञ्चित् किं भवद्भिः अन्विष्टम् इति ज्ञानं प्राप्तव्यमिति चिन्तयामः। तदानीं तैः एका सभा नाम मीटिङ्ग् तत्र अस्माकं चान्सलर् महोदय, तदानीं कालिदासमहोदयः ते आह्वातव्याः इति उक्तवन्तः। सद्यः आहूतः कामकोटिमहोदयं स्वीकृत्य अत्र अहम् एकं मीटिङ्ग् करोमि इति उक्त्वा प्रथमतः इदं प्राथमिकसमावेशं तत्र किं भवति आर्टिफिशियल् इण्टेलिजेन्स् कृते अस्माभिः किं कर्तव्यं, भवता किं कृतम् इति एतेषां निकटे उक्तवन्तः। प्रतिपादितम्। अस्मिन् विषये अहं चिन्तयन्नेव आसम्। आर्टिफिशियल् इण्टेलिजेन्स् कृते प्रथमतः अस्माकं ज्ञानं भवति। मेशीन् लर्निङ्ग् किम् इति अस्माकं ज्ञानं भवति। अनन्तरं च क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् इति अस्माकं ज्ञानं भवति। क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् इत्युक्ते अधुना सुदर्शनमहोदयैः यदुक्तं प्रायः बौद्धदर्शने प्रतीच्य समुत्पादवादः अस्ति। तत्तद् दर्शनानां के ते सिद्धान्ताः भवन्ति। मायावादः एवमेव अनेके वादाः सन्ति। तेषु प्रतीच्य समुत्पादवादः बौद्धदर्शने अस्ति। तदेव क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् इति अहं चिन्तयामि। यस्य कस्यापि कार्यस्य पूर्वमेव कानिचन चिह्नानि भवन्ति, सङ्केताः भवन्ति। तद् यत्किमपि भवतु, कदाचित् अनन्तरं कार्यं प्रथमतः एव ज्ञायते। अस्माकं शकुनवादः अपि तदेव। स्वप्नानां दर्शनं तादृशमेव भवति इति इदमेव क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् नाम अहं भ्रान्तो भवामि। कदाचित् अस्मिन्नपि विषये कदाचित् समावेश। अधुना सुदर्शनमहोदयाः अस्मान् आहूतवन्तः। प्रायः त्रयं जातम् अस्माकम् एतत्। अधुना बेङ्गळूरुनगरं गच्छामः, तदानीम् अस्माकं एते कुलसचिवाः कथयन्ति तत्र आवासव्यवस्था अस्ति वा। आवासव्यवस्था भवतामेव गृहे भवामः, अनन्तरं पश्येम। तर्हि क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् मध्ये गोष्ठी तत्र भवति। किं भवति इति वयं जानीमः। अत्र सूत्रपातः जातः। गणपतिभट्टः अनन्तरं रमाश्री मेडं तयोः विषयेपि पाण्डित्यं परीक्षणीयं। रमाश्री किमपि कथयति, अस्माकं कम्प्यूटर् तदस्ति एतदस्ति एतदस्ति इति मया बहुवारम् उक्तम् अस्माकं संस्कृत याप् निर्मेयमिति। सा कथयति प्रज्ञां कृतवती अस्मिन्नेव सन्दर्भे संस्कृत याप् अहं करोमि तदपि तत्र प्रदर्शनं भवति। प्रायः अहं चिन्तयामि अस्माकं संस्कृत डे सेलिब्रेशन्स् अस्ति अन्तिमं भवतामेव संस्थायां तस्य समापनं भवति। तदानीं श्रावणपूर्णिमायां कल्याणनगरे अस्माकं समावेशः भवति। तत् तेन ततः पूर्वम् अस्माभिः अत्र कार्यक्रमाः औपचारिकरूपेण वयं कुर्मः। अयमेकः विषयः भवति क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् किं भवति इति एकवारं तदपेक्षितम्। अनन्तरं च एवं रूपेण अस्माभिः निर्णयः कृतः। तस्मिन्नेव समये प्रथमतः अहं चिन्तितवान् ते चान्सलर् महोदयः उक्तवन्तः प्रथमतः भवन्तः सर्वेपि जानन्तु अध्यापकाः सर्वेपि जानन्तु कथम् अध्यापकाः सन्ति आर्टिफिशियल् इण्टेलिजेन्स् किं भवति कथं प्रयोगः कर्तव्यः अध्यापने कथं प्रयोगः कर्तव्यः परीक्षणे कथं प्रयोगः कर्तव्यः। अहं रमाश्री मैडम् तदेव कर्तुम् इच्छति इति अहं ज्ञातवान् चिन्तितवान् किन्तु इदं पत्रमागतम् अधुना अस्माकं देशेव नास्ति किं भवन्तः सर्वेपि कथयन्ति तत् कालिदास महोदयः सम्यक् विवृणन्ति। अस्मिन्नेव सन्दर्भे कामकोटिमहोदयः बहुधा प्रार्थितः भवन्तः आगच्छन्तु इति किन्तु गणपतिभट्टमहोदयः अन्विताः ते समागताः सम्यक्तया अस्माकं चक्षुर्मीलितं नेत्र उन्मयनं जातं तेन च अस्माभिः सम्यक्तया ज्ञानं प्राप्तम्। अनन्तरं च अस्माकं एते आगताः सन्ति मया द्विवारं त्रिवारं एतेषां द्विधा जाता इण्टर्व्यू। प्रथमसाक्षात्कारे अहं प्रभावितः किन्तु केनापि कारणेन न जातं। द्वितीयसाक्षात्कारे आगच्छन्तु वा इति सन्देहः आसीत्। किमर्थम् एते आहूताः इत्येत् यद्यपि तेषां लाभः नास्ति अस्माकमेव लाभः भवति। एते अस्माभिः NEP 2020 IKS इम्प्लिमेण्ट् करणीयं चेत् DRDO जनाः भवेयुः इति कदाचित् सम्यक् प्रेरणा भवति इति मया चिन्तितं। ते च करिष्यन्ति इति मम दृढः सङ्कल्पः। तेषां सहयोगेन एतत् सर्वमपि कुर्मः। अनन्तरं च सद्यः गतदिने एव केचन मन्त्रालयीयाः आगताः ते च उक्तवन्तः भवतां इण्टर्डिसिप्लिनरी कोर्सस् डिज़ैन् करणीयमिति। तदानीम् अहं तस्मिन्नेव विषये गतदिने मया किञ्चित् चिन्तनं कृतवान्। किमस्ति साहित्यमस्ति कम्पेरिटिव् हिस्ट्रिक्स् अथवा फैनान्स् अनयोः सम्बन्धः एव पुराणेतिहासः भवति हिस्टरी पुराणेतिहासः। अनन्तरं च व्याकरणमस्ति। अधुना कामकोटिमहोदय बहु सम्यक्तया पाणिनीयव्याकरणस्य विषये कथितं तत्र तयोः सम्बन्धः लिङ्ग्विस्टिक्स् व्याकरणं। ज्योतिषमस्ति चेत् इति अस्माकं चन्द्रलाल् महोदय अत्र एव सन्ति रमेश बाबु महोदयः अपि अत्र एव सन्ति। ज्योतिषम् अस्ति तत्र द्विधा गणितज्योतिषमस्ति तेन सह गणितं तथा सम्यक् क्रियते चेत् कम्बैन्ड् भवति। वास्तुशास्त्रमस्ति कृष्णप्रभुर्न महोदयाः मया पृष्टाः वास्तु आर्किटेक्चर् इति तैः तथा कर्तुं शक्यते। एवमेव अनन्तरं योगः योगेन सह भवतु। अस्माकं वेदान्ताः केन सह सम्बध्यन्ते चेत् मॉडर्न मेटाफिजिक्स् नाम अथवा एपि कथ्यते किल क्वाण्टम् कम्प्यूटिङ्ग् मध्ये दर्शनानां भवतु अस्माकं त्रयाणां वेदान्तानां न्यायेन सह कदाचित् NLP भवतु। एवं रूपेण अस्माकं यानि शास्त्राणि सन्ति तानि इतरशास्त्रैः सह सम्बन्धं स्थापयितुं कर्तव्यमिति मया तेषां निकटे सूचितं। गतदिने अस्माकं IQAC मध्येपि सूचना दत्ता। किञ्च सम्यक् भवति वा इति कदाचित् CDAC द्वारा कथं कुर्वन्ति इत्युक्ते मया कथितम् अत एव CDAC द्वारा अस्माकं MOU अस्ति। कदाचित् तेषां सम्पर्केण भवतु, इतरेषां सम्पर्केण भवतु। अस्माकं रमाश्री मैडम् अधुना राज्ञी श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी जाता। यथा कम्प्यूटर् सदा भवति किल, सर्वथा भवति, सर्वत्र भवति। सा तस्याः मार्गदर्शने वयम् एतादृश इंटर्डिसिप्लिनरी कोर्सेस् डिज़ैन् कुर्मः इति सन्देहः। अपि च तस्याः कृते शुभकामनाः भवन्ति। तस्याः प्रयासेन अस्माकं पारम्परेण संस्थायां यद्यपि गणपतिभट्टसदृशाः महान्तः विद्वांसः तथापि मॉडर्न स्कूल एकम् अपेक्षितमिति सा बहु प्रयत्नं करोति स्म। तदानीं महान् प्रयासः तत्र मन्त्रालयस्य सहस्राणि लिखितवती। तेन प्रयासेन अस्माभिः मॉडर्न स्कूल स्थापितं। तत्र अस्ति आर्डिनेन्सस् परिवर्तनं कर्तव्यं, पुनः तावत्पर्यन्तं विजिटर् पर्यन्तं गच्छेत्, गतं प्रायः आगच्छेत्। अतः एतन्माध्यमेन भवत्याः यः सङ्कल्पः अस्ति सः सफलः जातः, पूर्णः जातः इति भवत्याः काङ्ग्राचुलेशन्स् दद्मः। अनन्तरं च अस्माकम् अत्रैव ममैव गृहे IITians त्रयः भवन्ति। ते च तान् आहूतवान्, किन्तु नागताः केनापि। न अत्र सद्यः इति न, आगामि सप्ताहे इति कथितम्, अतः नागताः। ते च AI मध्ये किमपि स्टार्टअप् कर्तुम् इच्छन्ति। बहु पैकेज् अपि विहाय गृहे स्थित्वा तत् किमपि कुर्वन्ति। किं कुर्वन्ति इति सूचयति चेत् भवान् न जानाति, वयमपि किमपि कुर्मः। कदा पूर्णं भवति? आगामिनि सप्ताहे, आगामिनि मासे, एवं रूपेण चलति। एकवारम् अत्र आगच्छन्तु, समावेशो भवति। भवतामपि कदाचित् बालादपि सुभाषितं कदाचित् शृणुमः इति मया। अत्रान्तरे एव अस्माकं शोधच्छात्रः एकः अस्ति, तस्य पत्नी नीता इति वर्तते। सा च IIT मध्ये कार्यं करोति। मया आहूत आगच्छतु इति, केनापि कारणेन नागतवती। तस्याः पिता IIT वरङ्गल् मध्ये कार्यं करोति। तेषां कृते मया सूचना दत्ता। RBV सुब्रह्मण्यम् इति सोपि आगतः इति महान् प्रमोदः। एवञ्च सर्वेषां भवतां CDAC जनानाम्, अनन्तरं च अस्माकम् इतरे अध्यापकाः। रमाश्री कथितवती प्रायः 40 जनाः रिजिस्टर्ड् कृतवन्तः। अस्माकमपि अध्यापकाः रिजिस्टर् कृतवन्तः। एतेन अयं कार्यक्रमः सफलः जातः इति प्रथमे उद्घोषणं कृतवती। वयं पश्येम, किन्तु आगामिनि कुत्र श्रावणपूर्णिमायां बेङ्गळूरुनगरे भविष्यति। अस्मिन्नेव विषये अन्तिम समापनसमारोहः भविष्यति इति निवेद्य तदर्थं कुर्वन्तु इति अस्माकं नोडल् आफीसर् भवति गणपतिभट्टमहोदयः, एवमेव निर्देशिका भवति रमाश्रीः, भवति अस्माकं चन्द्रशेखरमहोदयः, इतरे च सर्वेपि अभिनन्दनाः। भवतां कृते स्वागतं व्याहरामः। कुलकर्णिमहोदयः अपि आगताः, जानकीमहोदयः आगतः, इयमपि आगताः, सर्वेपि समागताः सन्ति। दिनद्वयं यत्किमपि वा भवतु, यथा कथमपि अत्र उषित्वा अस्मान् ज्ञानिनः कुर्वन्तु इति सम्प्रार्थ्य विरमामि। धन्यवादः। ओम शान्ति।
Vice Chancellor, sir, we are grateful for your kind address, and we are very much thankful for granting us modern school for the computer science. And on the behalf of the department, I express thanks for that, sir. Now, the felicitation program. Sir, I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to offer fruits and book to the Professor V. Kamakoti, sir. And now I request Ganapati Bhatt, sir, to receive the felicitation on the behalf of Kamakoti, sir. ఫ్లవర్ కూడా వీలుంటే ఫ్లవర్ ఈసారి పంపించే ఫ్లవర్ పంపించండి. So I request play claps for the okay, sir. Now request J. Sir Kashmir sir to felicitate our another keynote speaker, Professor Dr. D. Sudarshan sir, with fruit and book. Sir, now I request Dr. Sudarshan sir to offer fruits to our VC sir kindly. Fruits. VC sir, fruits. Fruits only. Sir, now may I request Professor Ganapati Bhatt sir to offer fruits to our Dean Rajikant Shukla sir. I also request Ganapati Bhatt sir to offer fruits to our registrar sir. I request Professor R.J. Ramasri to offer fruits to our workshop chairman, Professor Ganapati Bhatt sir. I request offer fruits to convener Ramasri. Sir. So more awaited declaration of our modern school. Our Vice Chancellor was kind enough to declare new modern school for including Department of Computer Science. Is a great day for us, an awaited event for us. Now, Madam. Sir, so Professor G. Sridhar would propose the vote of thanks to.
Thank you, sir. So, good morning, everyone. Sir, I am truly honored to have been given this opportunity to propose this vote of thanks. So, begin expressing gratitude to the dignitaries and dayas, I would like to share a brief and but important point. So, our university convocation was held last week, and it was a very special occasion, particularly for the Department of Computer Science. During the convocation address, our Honorable Chancellor, Padma Bhushan Dr. Gopal Swami Garu, emphasized the importance of AI and its applications in promoting Sanskrit language. His inspiring words served as the motivation for us to organize this two-day national workshop on applications of AI, ML, quantum computing, and Indian knowledge system, sir. So we are very much fortunate and honored to have eminent scholars and experts from across the country participating and delivering their valuable lectures in this workshop. So I express my deepest gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir Professor G.S. Krishnamurthy Garu, for his encouragement and for granting us permission to conduct this workshop. So a heartful thanks to Professor V. Kamakoti Garu, Director IIT Madras, delivering an outstanding inaugural address about Sanskrit and AI and Sanskrit that has enriched us with all insights and inspiration for this workshop. So I extend my sincere thanks to today's guest of honor, Dr. S.D. Sudarshan Garu, Executive Director, CDAC, Bangalore, for his valuable speech and contribution to this event. My special thanks to our chairman, Sir Professor K. Ganapati Garu, for his continuous guidance and support, ensuring the smooth functioning of this workshop. So we are thankful to Academic Dean Professor R.K. Shukla Garu for encouraging us to conduct this event. So we are equally grateful to our registered sir and today's special guest, Sri K.V. Narayan Rao Garu, for his support financially with all encouragement. So I express heartfelt thanks to convener of the workshop, Professor R.J. Ramasri Garu, who took complete responsibility and guided us at every step. Without her leadership, this event would not have been possible. So I would like to thank to our head of department, Professor B. Chandrasekharam sir, and all faculty members, Dr. Nagalakshmi, Dr. Mary Sujata, Srimati Prasanna, Dr. K. Sankirti, Sujani, and last members of CDAC Bangalore for their dynamic cooperation and tireless efforts. A big thank to goes to our UG and MSc students who worked a lot with and day and night with great dedication to make this workshop a successful event. So also we express our gratitude to print and electronic media for covering this event and helping us reach a wider audience. We hope that this workshop will serve as a valuable platform for our students and research scholars to deepen their knowledge and explore the new frontiers in emerging technologies.